You may have seen my recent video about what I think is missing from Android in 2020. Now it's the iPhone stand. So here it is in no particular order, the three things that I think is missing from the iPhone and iOS in 2020. Number one, default apps. Now I'm not going to lie, it's a pretty consistent thread that it's going to be going through this video. But we're going to start with the easiest one for Apple to implement, which is default apps on this puppy. Default apps. So what do I mean by default apps? Doesn't the iPhone already have default apps? Well, yes, it does, but I'm talking about the ability to change the default apps. Now, Apple have fine stock apps that come with the iPhone. There's Apple Mail, there's Safari, there's Apple Music. Solid apps that lean heavily on all the functionalities that iOS 13, in this case, provides. But there's some other apps that I would like to make default. Here's an example. Apple Maps. There are people out there that like to use Apple Maps. No, seriously, there are. There are some people that it's just what's installed on the phone. I'm just going to use it. Apple Maps will do. It'll get me from here to there. That'll be fine. Now, there is arguably a better product in Google Maps. Now, a couple of iterations ago, iOS gave us the chance to delete those stock apps, but the system still looks for them if it can't find them. Hold that magic button down. Navigate to Movie World.
Getting directions to Warner Bros. Movie World. Sorry, something's gone wrong. Please try again.
Oh, wants me to restore maps. No, I don't want to do that. So it's actually asking me to restore the app that they would prefer to use. Not ideal. As far as I'm concerned, I want to use Google Maps. Now, to be fair, Apple have implemented an adjustment that you can use in Siri to open third-party apps. Let me show you how I will do that. Navigate to Movie World in Google Maps.
Getting directions to Warner Bros. Movie World using Google Maps.
So it does work. It just kind of isn't built in. Now, if you want to utilize Siri to get some music playing on Spotify, you can do the same thing. But it's going to give you the same error if you haven't got Apple Music installed. So again, just one extra thing to think about when you're trying to utilize Voice Assistant. The problem with Voice Assistant is that it's hard enough as it is. So if you're trying to add extra loopholes and things to jump through, it's not going to be used even more so than it already is not used. Now contrast that to Android, where you can pretty much set any app that you have installed as the default for that particular thing. So you can set default music player, you can set default navigation, you can set default browser, and so on and so forth. So really nice implementation of how the OS will let us set the default, and then we can go on with our day. Number two, Springboard. So you're probably wondering, coolly, what the hell's Springboard? Springboard, dear friends, is this guy. It's our desktop. It's our grid of apps. It's our notification system. It's essentially all the workings of the operating system that you see visually. It's not great, and it hasn't really changed in 10 years. We go back to the original iPhone and the iPhone 3G, it still is pretty much what we have now. So why is that a problem? Well, it's not a problem if you're over 50. It's good, it's perfect. It works exactly the way I expect it to. But I don't want it to work like that. I want to, for example, have my Things app down the bottom here. So it's close when I hit it with my thumb. I can't do that. On Android, I can set my icons to be wherever I want. I can have that same icon on every single page if I want. I can have widgets if I want. So it doesn't harm the operating system in any way, shape or form. It actually makes it easier to use. So how Android get around this is they have a app drawer, which they can slide up or slide over depending on your setup, and you have access to all of your apps, but all your apps don't have to live on your desktop. Perfect. And while we're talking about Springboard, Apple notifications drive me mad. Okay, they're there. They don't really serve the purpose of what a notification should be. So just bear with me for a minute. I get a notification to say, hey, do you want to catch up for coffee? If I swipe it away, I haven't gotten rid of the notification. It's still in my notification drawer. But I've swiped it away, I've seen it. It's convoluted, it's a mess, and basically it makes this whole notification center screen totally pointless. Look at this. I have got apps and apps and apps and notifications. I've got notifications everywhere. I don't look at any of this. I don't care. The problem is, if I don't see that notification, I miss it. And I do rely heavily on my notification badges, which one thing Apple does extremely well. Now, what happens if I'm on Android and I get a notification? I can reply. Once I've replied, it's gone. That notification's gone. I don't need to see it again. Perfect. That's how I'd like it. They also group notifications a lot cleaner than how Apple does. So finally, range of designs, range of phone designs. Okay, if I'm to hold this up, right, we'll turn that screen off, and I was to hold this one up, the only difference is that this one has a button on the bottom of the screen. This one doesn't. When we go around the back, we can see that again there's a difference between the two. But essentially it's kind of kept the same slab of glass and metal, or slab of glass and glass, that they've done for the last decade. And because we go a full year before a new iPhone's released, when it comes to it and we don't see any changes, we kind of get that, kind of seen that. Kind of okay with what I've already got, which isn't a bad thing. Okay, it's not a bad thing. Apple do a really good job in making sure that when you buy one of these, you'll get a good 5 years out of it before you need to replace it. So it's not all bad, but I'd love to see some slight variations in what Apple releases. Now, it's only one phone a year generally, or one or two phones a year. They kind of stay the same. And I'd love to see them just flex their design muscle a little bit more than they do. Now, on the Android side, you want a phone shaped like a square? No problems. Want a phone that could fit into a body cavity? Perfect. You can pretty much find a size, a style, and a price that will fit exactly what you need. That's a really strong reason to go Android. So there you have it, 3 things that I think Apple still are missing out on in 2020. What do you think the iPhone's missing? Do you think I've nailed it on the head? Do you think I've missed some glaringly obvious stuff? Please comment down below and let me know. If you're enjoying the videos too, please give me a thumbs up and hit subscribe if you'd like to be notified of when new videos drop. So that's it for this video. We'll see you in the next one.